Welcome to Scary Campfire Stories. My name is Kyle Hester, and I will be your host. The purpose of this channel is for the continuation of independent film. Please pitch into the Patreon on the link below to be a part of our films going forward, and be sure to subscribe to the channel. Let's begin, shall we?
Amid the narrow, winding streets of New Orleans stands a building as old as the city herself, a place of sanctuary, of silence. The Ursuline Convent, founded in 1727, has long been a beacon of faith and hope, but beneath its sacred walls lies a tale so dark it has become one of the most enduring legends of this haunted city. The cities of the Ursuline arrived from France to care for the sick and educate the young, bringing with them a strict code of discipline and devotion. But with them came something else, something mysterious, something sinister. It is said that within the convent's upper floors, beyond the reach of prying eyes, the sisters harbored a dark secret. In the dead of night, strange sounds were heard emanating from the convent, whispers, footsteps, and the faint cries of souls in torment. The sisters, bound by their vows of silence, spoke not a word of what transpired within these hallowed halls, but the townsfolk could not ignore the signs, the feelings of dread that hung over the convent like a pall, the shadows that seemed to move on their own. According to the legend, the sisters were not alone in their devotions. They were said to be guarding something, or someone, within the upper floors of the convent. They say it was a group of young women sent from France to escape persecution, who carried with them a curse. Others whisper of vampiric entities, confined to the convent by sacred rites, held at bay only by the sisters' unwavering faith. To this day, the upper floors of the Ursuline Convent remain sealed, untouched by time, forbidden to all but the most devout, and yet the legend persists. Some claim to have seen spectral figures in the convent's windows, their faces pale as the moonlight, their eyes filled with an eternal sorrow. Others report sounds of chanting, long after the last of the sisters have retired for the night. What truths lie behind the walls of the Ursuline Convent, we may never know, but in a city where the past is never truly past, where the line between the living and the dead is as thin as a whisper, one thing is certain: New Orleans is a place where secrets do not stay buried for long. As the sun rises over the Crescent City, we leave the Ursuline Convent to its secrets, but not without a word of caution. Should you find yourself near these ancient walls after dark, beware the shadows, for they may hold more than just echoes of the past. I know the question that you're wondering. Vampires. Doesn't New Orleans have vampires? Well, that takes us to our next story. Let's go back to New Orleans. Deep in New Orleans, there is a tale as dark as the midnight sky. A tale of a man, or perhaps something more, whose charm and mystery captivated the city by day, and whose secrets brought terror by night. This is the story of Jacques Saint Germain, the vampire of New Orleans. It was the early 1900s when Jacques Saint Germain arrived in New Orleans, a man of striking appearance and enigmatic charm. He was said to be of European nobility, a descendant of the infamous Comte de Saint Germain, the mysterious figure who had bewitched the courts of Europe with his knowledge, wit, and seeming immortality. While the Comte had been a man of legend, Jacques was very much real, a man whose presence cast a long and sinister shadow over the city. Saint Germain quickly became known for his extravagant parties, where the wine flowed freely and the conversation was as rich as the food. He was a master storyteller, regaling his guests with tales of ancient times, of kings and queens long dead, as if he had known them personally, and perhaps in some way he had. But there was something about Jacques Saint Germain that set him apart. Something in his eyes, his voice, his very presence, that hinted at a truth too terrible to comprehend. There were whispers that Saint Germain never ate or drank in public, that his wine glass was always full yet never emptied. And then there were the women who attended his parties, entranced by his allure, only to vanish into the night, never to be seen again. The city began to murmur with rumors, tales of a man who was not what he seemed, of a creature who lived off the life force of others. The story reached its chilling climax one fateful night when a young woman, bloodied and terrified, burst from Saint Germain's home, claiming she had barely escaped with her life. She spoke of being attacked, of fangs that tore into her flesh, of eyes that glowed with a hunger that was not human. The authorities were called, but when they arrived, Saint Germain was gone, vanished, as if he had never existed. Inside the house, they found no trace of the man, but they did find something far more disturbing. Bottles of wine, untouched and perfectly preserved, filled not with wine, but with blood. The evidence was undeniable. Jacques Saint Germain was no mere man. He was a creature of the night, a vampire who had walked among them, preying on the unsuspecting, feeding off of their life force to sustain his own cursed existence. To this day, the legend of Jacques Saint Germain endures, a tale that has become part of the very fabric of New Orleans. Some say he still walks among us, hidden in plain sight, his face unchanged by the passage of time, his hunger as insatiable as ever. So when you wander the streets of the French Quarter at night, take care to watch for the shadows, and beware of the man whose smile is just a little too sharp, whose eyes just a little too bright. For in this city, where the dead refuse to rest, you may just find yourself face to face with the vampire of New Orleans. On the corner of Bourbon and Bienville Streets stands a building steeped in legend and lore, a place where history and hauntings intermingle with every sip of the infamous Green Fairy. The old Absinthe House, established in 1807, has been a gathering place for artists, writers, and rogues alike, each drawn to the intoxicating allure of absinthe, the drink that some say opens a door to the other side. But the old Absinthe House is more than just a bar. It is a place where the past lingers like the ghostly haze of a forgotten dream. Over 2 centuries of history have seeped into these walls, each story leaving behind a trace, a memory, a spirit that refuses to fade away. One of the most enduring legends of the old Absinthe House involves a mysterious figure simply known as the Stranger. In the late 19th century, as absinthe fever gripped the city, a man of unknown origin became a regular patron of the bar. He was always dressed in black, his face hidden beneath a wide-brimmed hat, his voice a low murmur that sent chills down the spines of those who heard it. The stranger's presence was unsettling, yet strangely compelling. Patrons claimed that he spoke of things no living man could know, secrets of the past, the future, and the dead. Some believed him to be a spirit, others a demon. But one thing was certain. When he raised his glass, a cold wind would sweep through the room, and the lights would dim, as if the very air around him had grown colder. One night, as the clock struck midnight, the stranger raised his glass one last time, uttered a final cryptic toast, and vanished, leaving behind an empty glass and the chill that settled deep into the bones of those who witnessed it. He was never seen again, but his presence lingers. Many who sit at the bar in the same spot where the stranger once sat have reported feeling a sudden coldness, a whisper in their ear, or a fleeting shadow at the edge of their vision. But the stranger is not the only spirit said to haunt the old Absinthe House. The bar has seen its share of duels, betrayals, and dark dealings, and the spirits of those who met untimely ends within these walls are said to still frequent their old haunt. Glasses move on their own, footsteps echo in empty rooms, and on certain nights, the faint strains of a piano can be heard playing a mournful tune, though no musician is present.
If you enjoyed this story, please be sure to subscribe to the channel and continue supporting independent film